Okay.
So,
Did I get okay?
yeah, it's fine. We're just starting the recording for the journey because the other stuff we did is private for you.
Right.
You know, it doesn't, we're going to do a lot more than that on the journey, but it sets it up. It makes it possible for you to go on the journey in a practical way with common sense.
Right.
As you know, when we start these journeys, there is always a Galactic Alliance couple. When I say Galactic Alliance, don't think of them as aliens or extraterrestrials and put your limitations upon them. These are very advanced beings, some of them 1,000 years old, having a body, usually on a ship that's stationed in our solar system right now for our own good. And they'll leave their body in the trance state and come and join us and do this work because they can't take that physical body into the void or higher. They can't even take that physical body into the astral plane. The atma is the only thing that can move between them. It's not made of them. It's common
Okay.
sense. The astral body is made of the molecular time rate of matter within one of 144 parallel dimensions that comprise the astral plane. And it stays within the astral plane. It does not go to the causal, it does not come here. The physical body, made of the time rate of molecules from planet Earth, stays within the physical universe. You can take it on a ship if you have the technology. You can go in between 144 parallel dimensions where the Galactic Alliance has world systems, and they can traverse those dimensions in their craft. But they can't take those ships into the astral plane. The two don't mix. The only race I know of that had ships that could traverse the astral and physical worlds were the Say rays. They go back. Paul mentioned of it just once briefly in the Tiger's Fang. Big statues in the city of Sahasradal, Cornwall, capital center of the astral plane.
I
They
remember
have
that.
big statues of on honor of the Say rays, these giant humans. They're
Right.
18 to 25 feet tall on their worlds. We get our DNA, as do reptilians and greys and everybody else that's space frame. Pashots, mantis, you name it. They have Say rays DNA. Etta and Dinner Drents, silica based, they have Say rays DNA because that's who they were billions of years ago. They seeded and developed and brought bodies like this up to a point where the nervous system was sophisticated enough so the atma could run it and have experience in these different levels. The
Hmm.
purpose for that was to master the different levels, not get caught in them, not get sucked into thinking they're an astral body, or that's their sex or something, because nobody can take that with them, at least not from this body.
Right.
Well, it's just something you can't keep, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to be only living in a consciousness like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with any of it, it's just that people are lost in it, stuck in it, trapped in it. They don't know what they're doing. I had a choice. When I went through waking this stuff up, it wasn't in any organization, it wasn't taught, we couldn't find it on Earth. I had a choice when I was with Satnam from then on to either create something new up there that would help them all the way to source and then be implemented if it was tested by Satnam to be true, necessary, and kind, because that was a shocker for all of them. They didn't see it coming, but I can tell you that they've always wanted beings to come back to source with the right purpose. We're supposed to return to source with the innate drive to create new ways of doing things to benefit all life. That is our purpose. That is our true co-created purpose. People aren't doing that on Earth. They're quite the opposite. People out there are. So when we go back home and we go there with the right attitude for the right reason, then we start to co-create new ways of doing things. We plug our little Atma right into the center of source and download our experience. No negative part of it, just the wisdom.
Hmm.
We naturally have an ability to give something unique from the unique nature of our individual being to source. That's what we're supposed to be doing all the time.
Yeah.
They're not doing that in the astral, causal, mental, etheric. For the most part, they're not doing that. But that is changing. It's changing for the first time, actually. Hundreds of billions of years. This has not changed. You remember the lower worlds of time and space were fixed and finished? You have to have the silent mentors involved who run the mechanics of creation to alter anything. One of the things they have done is permanently stop the flipping of Earth's poles. It's flipped 6 times in 600,000 years, wiping out all life. Continents rise up from the seafloor. The ones that exist sink. It's overnight. It's 24 hours. No one's going to live through it. The Earth is fine. What's on it? Not so good. So if you can get off planet, you leave. If you can't, you're done. Then they recolonize the planet.
Right.
There are no more golden age to iron ages for this planet. That's not in books in any organization on this planet. They have not updated this yet. That's over. We would have had a polar flip years ago if it hadn't been prevented by the silent mentors themselves.
Okay.
They simply stopped it. They're kidding. They run galaxies and stars and control the doorways between dimensions. They want to stop something that's effortless for them. No effort at all. They don't flip. That's it. You got a dead moon circling the Earth, right?
Right.
It's not turned on its axis. That's as abnormal as hell. Because Earth's gravity and the big gas giants and the sun and the stars should have some effect on it. Earth's moon does not turn at all. Orbits the planet, always showing us the same face. And of course, the dark side of the moon is also light for half the time when it's in front of the sun.
Right.
It's not always dark. If you want to put bases in secret space program, where do you put them? On the back side of the moon where no radio telescope or astronomical or optical telescope can see it. Can't pick up any frequencies or signals. You can do whatever you want. Nobody can monitor it from Earth. So they always had 2 space programs, a classified one the public knows nothing about, and NASA.
And NASA.
Always 2. One that could operate if there was a nuclear war and keep governments and countries, at least what's left, running, and one that would have been wiped out. That's where it started. But it was done out of fear.
Yeah.
World War II. So when we go on these journeys using the first living power, primordial first sound behind creation, which comes from the mimicking part of it comes from the first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight. The word human, in other words, did not originate on this planet. The hue, when you do it, when you it affects this area. That's mental, Buddhist. Hue affects the head upward only. It actually does something to the pineal gland in the center of the brain. It opens a doorway. And it, fear is in the way of memory, but when fear is gone, you begin to recover who you are, what you were, what you did.
Right.
If it's for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Which would be, of course, that your natural heart energy, your natural source energy is to be co-creative for the uplifting benefit of all life. That's the only true function we have. Everything else is bull pucky. That's all it is. It's just not right.
Okay.
So to recover who we are, we have to have the right attitude and the right reason for why we ask for something or why we do something. And then we still have to show certain beings that we mean it and we're willing to change and we want their help, but we want to also step up to bat and be part of them. Whether it's masters or those guys out there in space, many of whom are masters. Most of the masterful beings aren't on this earth. Most of them have never stepped foot on this planet. And they're out there. Torellian's one. Well, he goes beyond what I'd call a master. This guy, his whole Sayres race immortalized their bodies over 1 billion years ago. That is not in another way. They didn't just fix the telomeres on the genome. They have 12-stranded DNA. No, They just dematerialized it, the structure, and stored it in a teardrop near the white core of their being. Then, when they want a body to mock it up, like you'll see on this journey, it's actually a body that in space, it's not a physical body, but if he wanted to walk on a planet, he could. And you go up and touch him. But it's when he's done using it, they just put it away. They take out this pattern, fill the hue through them around it. There's an instant body. They use it for a mission, a purpose, then they put it away. Well, that's more advanced than mastery. That is a step below being a silent one. Okay, because the mentors of the Seres are the silent ones. These are pretty evolved guys, man.
Mm.
So he doesn't have the burden of feeding a body or going to the bathroom, but he can mock one up whenever he needs it. Now, he does that for us to serve as a channel of the hue, as an example of our potential, which flows through us on these journeys from them. It isn't forced on anybody. So when you close your eyes, what you're doing is shutting off the link to the physical world of planet Earth. People don't know this, so they're not conscious of it. But then your inner vision begins to open. What people call the third eye is not in the pineal gland. It's not in the center of the brain. It is the awareness of the Atma looking in 360 degrees in any direction it chooses, and being aware of their own nature, floating in another energy that gives it access to the entire grand multidimensional creation on all levels. This is our true natural state.
Right.
So the body goes into the trance state called sleep because of the telepathic nature of my voice, but not just me. I work with many masterful beings, not from Earth, that are involved with me in helping this happen. Galactic Alliance personnel, and it's not a federation, have the mastery, not only technological mastery, but spiritual mastery, to leave their bodies and help us go on these journeys. That's what they do. So they will hover around you. They've left their, but it's not psychic. It's not an astral body. And they'll be around you to do one thing: keep fears and subconscious problems turned off for this journey, so you can gain real benefit without the influence of fear, and bring it back. And that changes you here. That's
Okay.
All right. I'm going to send out the hue 5 times, Al.
Okay.
And I want you to do it with me. You don't have to do it aloud. You can do it and hear the tone in your head and just match my tone. And we're going to create a link between you on Earth. You're hovering above your body right now, the real Al.
Right.
Which is not your actual name as an Atma, by the way. Anyway, now we're going to create a link between Earth's atmosphere and space. That space of the hue right outside Earth's atmosphere. In that space that little planets and little galaxies float in cannot have thoughts and feelings and emotions and negative stuff programmed into it. It won't fit there. It doesn't get recorded in what's called the void of space.
Right.
The pure hue does not allow that. It keeps itself a supporter, but it does not blend itself with the things it supports. There's a
Okay.
difference, okay? So I'll start the hue now, and just do it with me, which you don't have to do out loud. Where you're sitting in the body is in the trance state called sleep. It already is. It's as easy as what you do at night when you put it there. You know how, you're a master of it. You know how to do it. That's not a problem. You are actually a spherical being. You know what you look like, hovering above your body near the ceiling. There are two beings, one male, one female, or masculine and feminine, hovering to each side of you. The male and the female are from the Galactic Alliance in this case, considered master teachers, highly technically skilled, way beyond the understanding of Earth people. And they're projecting a form, well dressed, about 6 feet tall, out in front of the Atma. It is not a physical body. It is a projection, a prototype, like the one Satnam shows us, which is where this comes from. And it is not made of molecules or atoms. It is part of the pure hue projected in a form that can see and hear and taste and smell any experience. So this is our true prototype that people think gets resurrected. But it's already not, it doesn't need to be resurrected. It isn't physical. When the body passes or stops working, the Atma, us, the spherical being, will go to visit, say, the astral plane, or one of the bodies that's running in the lower worlds, what people call their higher selves. And if it's aware enough, it will go all the way into and above the void to Satnam's realm or higher to establish itself there so that it has no more nonsense of reincarnating bodies and being unconscious and all that nonsense. Just nonsense. But we have to be aware enough to go to these places and know what these places look like, because the principle is the omnipresent living power will only take us where we imagine it, nowhere else, under any circumstances. So it's very important that people remember how to see these places, these other planets, these other dimensions. They're not taught it on Earth. They've been suppressed in them. So we need to get them awakened into this while they're still running a body, preferably. You are also projecting a male body out in front. So there's these 3 forms hovering in front of 3 spheres. And it's about 36, and as a male, perfectly, flawlessly handsome. The male and female beside you are hundreds, 1,000 years old. In this case, many hundreds of years old, in the bodies they actually have. You're seeing a representation of the forms that they have, the bodies they have on a ship that are sitting in a lounge chair, their heads tucked to their chin, asleep. They're out of their bodies. So, this is how they work it. Since an implant is not in the physical body itself, but in the electromagnetic field that surrounds it, and in the electromagnetic field that surrounds the spherical Atma running that body, their work needs to be out of body for this purpose. If we were on one of their ships, we'd sit in a chair in a dodecahedron chamber in the center of the ship and see on screens around us the very thing that got us killed, tortured, and implanted and put on this planet. That people are absolutely terrorized to remember while they're living a life on Earth, which is why they don't. But in the first place, we're going out in space, out in the actual space outside of Earth's atmosphere, which is actually the hue. It's the first sound behind creation. And in that atmosphere out there, in that space, it appears as a white golden light everywhere. It's not black to us. It has a sound, physical plane sound that sounds like deep, barely rumbling thunder without lightning. Sound of the physical universe. higher tones of it that move through the 144 parallel dimensions of the physical plane. When it goes over the barrier to the astral plane, call it another heaven if you like, it becomes more like the sound of an ocean wave gently crashing on a beach. And these are the way sound manifests from the hue in these different levels to support them. So out in space, the Galactic Alliance couple, I'm going to read something to you so I can describe for you, I'm not even reading it, I'll describe for you what they look like. Shon-tial Tonal-tial and Lam-tam are two Galactic Alliance couples I've introduced to people on Earth. They have many, many associates. They work with you when you're out of your body at night to prepare you to actually go on these journeys. They appear, this couple, Shon-tial and Tonal-tial, which are hovering near the ceiling beside you. They're keeping your subconscious mind turned off, because where we're going, you cannot take anything of a negative nature. They appear to be 35 to 38 years old. He has long blonde hair and robin's egg blue eyes, slightly larger than an Earth human. She has long brunette hair and emerald green eyes, slightly larger than an Earth human. They're wearing a slim, single-piece, form-fitting, blue-gray uniform. It's a Galactic Alliance uniform. On the right chest area is a symbol of a galaxy, a silver golden galaxy, four-sided golden pyramid with a quartz cap, and three cobalt blue stars in triangular formation above the apex of the pyramid. That's a Galactic Alliance symbol. It is not a federation. That all came from Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. About 2,000 years in the future, with a federation of world planets. The actual organization that's near the galactic core of the Milky Way is called the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, because it is. And that information is not yet disclosed to the larger populace, not even in the UFO and extraterrestrial and disclosure communities, not yet. But it's 450 million spacefaring world systems, not just one planet, involved in that organization. And that comprises about half the galaxy. They come to Earth all the time. This couple points upward. You can see coming through the ceiling a very pastel white golden light flowing down through the ceiling, right through you, out through your body that's sitting in the trance state in that chair. And suddenly you find yourself in space above the planet. You're standing in a circle of beings around Ambassador Terrellian. Terrellian is 18 feet tall. He's showing you a very tall human body, about 36 years of age, like a Greek god. Long, slightly wavy blonde hair to his shoulders, big blue eyes, bigger than an Earth human's, slightly pointed ears, white dress on to above his bare feet. He has his two fists closed with his thumbs up, and there's a foot-thick white golden light around him, brighter than the hue in space. And there's a purpose for this. Ambassador Terrellian serves as a central focus for these journeys, to keep us all focused and together. You still with me? I hope. All right. So in space, this is easy to see. It's as easy as you imagining going to the store, except you're imagining it out in space. What's the difference? There isn't one. The same faculty does the same thing. Okay? So the imagination is emanating from the core of your spherical being, not from your brain. It's very easy for you to put the body in the trance state called sleep. You do it every night, which means it's being run on automatic while you're out of it. Heart works, blood circulates, you breathe, no problem. This is a piece of cake. I'm standing out in space a little to your right. You're standing off to my left. There's Shon-tial and Tonal-tial standing beside you in space, and the three Atmas hovering above all three of you, running these perfect-looking physical forms that are not made of atoms, they're not nuclear, there's no DNA. That form can see and taste and touch and see and hear anything to communicate it to the Atma. And it can be projected in any number of levels. This same human-like form can be projected in the etheric mental causal astral planes in here. It can even be projected, because it's not matter, in the void and higher. When we get up to Agam Purusha's realm or higher, generally we don't utilize it. It's just put away inside the Atma. We go as spherical beings the rest of the journey. This is a secondary implant removal journey. It does not take place in Earth's negatively impacted atmosphere, because water vapor, H2O, which are two gases combined to make water, what a miracle, and it has certain properties. It's telepathic medium, it's multi-dimensional level, capable of storing information like a computer, and the Earth is just packed full of it, but it is not very well charged, it's depleted. So the water on Earth, unlike other planets that are normal, does not glow. People have a real serious handicap in this way. They have to go out above the Earth and bring the hue back, which is what out-of-body travel is all about. There is out-of-body travel, and then there's direct projection. Out-of-body travels for pleasure. We do that. We get on a ship. We go out here. We go to a planet. It takes time to get from point A to point B. Direct projection is the ability of the Atma to move anywhere it can see in the one sound power behind the whole creation, and go anywhere in any dimension instantly from point A to point B. To my right is Master Opellum. The Master Opellum is human, about 6 feet tall, pale blue skin, beautiful ivory colored kind of skin, kind of blue moonstone-like skin. Perfectly human, jet black hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, and he's holding up his right hand. There's this beautiful big Atma hovering above him, just like you. And he's got webs between his fingers, and you can see that this being, and he lifts his neck, you can see 3 little slits high up under the back of his neck, up under his chin. Now, this race of humans can breathe underwater or on land. They evolved on mostly water-covered worlds. They have Say-Rays DNA in them too. People from Earth could mate with an oceanian. Our genetics are so close. Not that they'd want to, mind you, but you could. Master Opellum was the sponsoring benefactor of the beginning foundation of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds over 500,000 years ago, at the encouragement and sponsorship of Ambassador Turellian of the Say-Rays, who's standing in the middle of this circle. To your left towards the Earth is Master Ramu, because it's more his real name than someone has it put out in the world on Earth. Short, cropped black curly hair and beard, dark brown skin, coal black eyes, maroon robe, simple rope for a belt, sandals. He's holding in his right hand a quartz crystal staff, or it looks like quartz, glowing with a golden light, has on top of it crested the symbol in ancient Egypt for eternal life, the Ankh, cross with a vertical oval hole in the center of it. It's a trademark. There's 2 crystals that fit in the eye of that Ankh, and they're put together to take a person when they're ready to source, to become a co-creator in their own right. So it's his trademark. Ribzar Tars, I think somebody called it at one time. We won't call it that because it's not the same. In other words, this being is much more ancient. This being goes back before that being. And he has other higher names. Ramu goes back to the time of Lemuria. Has a higher vibration. That being has a location, or a residence, you might say, in Agam Des. That is in the Himalayan type mountain range, not on Earth, in the higher 3rd parallel dimension, where Earth is quite different than it is here. So you can come back and forth between these places. I address this being by his more proper name of Ramu, although he does have a higher vibrational name as well. On the other side of this circle of beings is a little master called Light C. Chinese, about 5'5", maroon robe, esoteric symbols on it, little hat, little Fu Manchu beard, blue, crystal blue eyes. He's not from Earth. Asian looking, but not from Earth. Although he did reside on Earth a long time ago. He does not have a body in the mental, causal, astral, or physical planes. He has a body in the etheric plane, and he works above the void, above Satnam's realm in the Hue Expansionary Academy. And he's here voluntarily to add his wisdom to Turelian in this journey for your benefit and for the benefit of all life. So this energy is moving down from above through these beings, through us, and back to Earth where you live. And it's going through your physical body, out into the planet, for your benefit and for the benefit of others. The sound out here is like just a deep humming, almost like thunder, but smooth, non-frightening. The light you see around us that appears dark blue or black in Hubble Space Telescope images is a white golden light, and it is clearly a different light, supporting the stars and the suns and the galaxies that float in it, in this vast field of energy that is not stars and planets and suns and galaxies. That is zero-point energy, toroidal energy. That's the energy of the universe. Divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. But it's not physical matter. So we come to understand what this thing called divine spirit is by connecting directly into it. Not praying to it. That's okay. But people should be able to get to some point where they can leap into it instead of just pray to it. They need direct experience of it, working with it. Conscious experience. Since this kind of thing is not taught through any organization on Earth at this time, we have to go outside of Earth and get it and bring it back. Until such time as the Earth is visited by massive numbers of wonderful benevolent beings from the stars, which is coming up for us. Now out here in space, this being standing beside you, Shon-tial Tonal-tial, you can see Turelian. He's projecting a kind of an oval, transparent sphere of light around all of us. And there are many other master teachers in this circle. Not just me and you, and Opelum and Ramu and Lightsea, there are others. When you look above the sphere hovering above, which is bigger and brighter than ours, hovering above Ambassador Turelian's form, there is a Dren couple, master teachers, named Etta and Din. They have beautiful spheres hovering above them, about 3 feet long from their adorable snouts to the tip of their tail, standing upright on hind legs with an individual big toe and little toes, individual thumb and fingers like a human. They're pale green, not wet like a salamander. Big bulbous blue eyes, and their tail is glowing like crystal opal in bright sunlight, because they are silica-based and they come from Master Opelum's planet of Oceania, which is located on the other side of the galaxy in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe, just like the Earth is where Ramu comes from. Silica-based means that their DNA is made up of silica, like sand or crystals or quartz, not carbon. So it gives them the piezoelectric property, the ability to have a tail that glows, creates an anti-gravitic field, and they can fly or levitate around through the air 250 miles an hour in their own atmosphere. There are little diaphragms that come down over their eyes, like putting on goggles under the sea, and diaphragms in their nose so they can travel at high speed. This is for travel within an atmosphere. They're simply showing you the body form in the age they actually appear on Oceania, and they're out here out of body as master teachers to help us in this journey. Up above these two, high up in space, is Satnam himself. Started going on these journeys a year ago. Who knows why? Because he never did before. He's not really here. He's really a projection of here. And he's going to be guiding us, and well, he can at some point. Up above him is an hourglass-shaped golden white luminous vortex slowly turning clockwise. Around it is a blue-green luminous water, looks like water, turning around it at a different speed. At the other end of this vortex, way up the other end, is a brilliant, but what I call pale blue, cobalt blue luminous light. That is the void. This tunnel bypasses the lower worlds of time and space to directly connect to the void. The void has no negative nature, it's pure hue. This vortex connects beyond that into Satnam's realm, into the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, goes up through the planes to Agampurusha's realm, to Source, and to two other realities higher than the ocean itself. The realm of the Silent Mentors and the Hue Expansion Ray plane, which was recently brought into creation along with the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. It didn't exist up there before. There's a reason for this. So you're being aware that there's a white golden light coming down through this doorway, through Satnam, through Etendin, through Lightsea, through Turelian, out into this energy, and he's creating a sphere, an oval, of a brighter type of hue around us than the hue in space. And it's moving right through us, past us. Shon-tial and Tonal-tial are now turning your body, your physical appearing form, which is perfectly handsome, about 36, turning it out in space so you can see objectively the spherical atma you are hovering there. Around this spherical atma is an electromagnetic field that comes out the south pole of your being, goes way out around the outside of this sphere and goes in the north pole, just like it does around the planet Earth. Google it. Electromagnetic field, toroidal field around the Earth, and you can see what this looks like. It's made of the hue, and it's so you can float in this other energy that supports it, the primordial sound. And they're moving you up towards this atma, this physical form you have, escorting you. Around the outside of the atma, not in it, is a triangular patterned secondary implants that are placed there artificially. They look like a foot-wide oval light with a cylindrical beam connecting them outside the aura. These are subconsciously planted until now so that when you try to look out in space at the multidimensional universe and know things, these will kick on and play a subconscious terror, torture, and death that says something like this: if you remember this, we're going to kill you and eat you again. What's in secondary implants are not your experiences. They're artificially planted. They're to hold in place what we call the primary implant. We'll get to that later. So they're moving you up to this one that's off to 2/3 out in the field of energy outside the outer golden layer of the atma itself, which has the whole spectrum of light represented in it, right to a white, golden white core. And you turn this beam off that's connecting them. The couple does this without effort. And then they're moving your face. They're going to see. They're escorting your face right up to this oval white sphere. And then they're moving your perceptive capability as an atma, hovering above this form, right into it. We're not going to look at the torture, death, and fear, and intimidation, and threats. They aren't even your experiences, so we don't waste our time with that. What we want to see is the kind, wondrous, benevolent life that was randomly chosen to cover it up that you had before, so that you couldn't access the wisdom you once had before you found yourself on Earth with no memory. That's the purpose of a secondary implant. It's a misuse of science in the physical universe. It affects, in a sense, the hue that surrounds us, but not the atma itself. It makes it so that you look through these distortions at the multiverse and get reflected back terror and torture and death. It's all it is. So, as they move your face into it, you suddenly find yourself moving through an atmosphere. You're like the outside of a big planet. It's mostly water covered, has blue-green oceans that are luminous. It's a planet 4 times bigger than Earth. Has a big continent over the center of the equator. One in the North Pole, one in the South Pole, another one on the other side of the planet. No polar ice caps. There's a reason for this. When you look out in space, you can see that this planet has 4 moons orbiting it at different distances the size of Earth. There's life on those worlds. No polar ice caps. They have no polar ice caps because this planetary system is orbiting what's called a trinary star system. 3 suns. Understand this, you once knew it. Most of the suns in the Milky Way galaxy are binary 2 or 3, trinary. Some are more. Most of them are not single suns like what our Earth orbits around. The effect that has is different on life on those worlds than what's on Earth. It's important to see this in this experience because it was one life you had long ago. In that life there was no war, there was no fear, no reptilians, no greys, nothing of any negative nature. Just a very long lifetime running a body, a human form or humanoid form, much more evolved, 4-stranded DNA minimum, that you had already experienced long ago in galactic history as part of the Galactic Alliance, which you were part of. That's been around 500,000 years. It was called the Galactic Alliance prior to that, and it had almost as many world systems in it. And Opelum came along, Ambassador Trellian, and it became the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. So now you're going through looking at this trinary sun system, which has 3 yellow suns. Great big yellow golden one, brighter and bigger than ours. Slightly smaller yellow one, and a slightly dimmer yellow one, smaller, and they orbit, these 2 smaller ones orbit the bigger sun. The planetary system orbits around those triple suns. The nearest sun to Earth is a binary sun, 2 suns. Others, most of them are trinary, which means suns revolve around suns that revolve around bigger suns that revolve around the center of the galaxy. This is how it really works in space. Space that surrounds all these galaxies is the hue. It is a living, conscious, single power. We are comprised of exactly the same energy. It comes from a source far above what Buddhists call the void. The void has no negative nature, but there's nothing in it except this light. So they think of it as the supreme being. It is not. It is a barrier between the upper realities, which have no negative nature and never have, and the lower worlds of time and space. And then you're moving down into the atmosphere, and you suddenly realize you are aboard a 60-foot in diameter Galactic Alliance scout ship. It's 278,000 years ago, long after the end of the last great war in our galaxy. There hasn't been one since, and there isn't one taking place out there now. Knowing this gets you free of fear of alien invasions and all that other nonsense. And you're coming down into this atmosphere, and as you pass through these slightly pink and blue clouds, you're passing through water vapor that is glowing. The atmosphere is calm. You break through the other side, and you're looking at this big continent, which has a blue kind of stone to it. Golden beach, but it's like the beach around this continent is glowing. The ocean water is glowing a foot above the calm waves. When a planet is properly charged with the first sound behind creation, It doesn't have violent natural catastrophes. The temperature remains pretty much the same worldwide. Mountains that have snow are there because the beings want it. It's not like Earth. 4 times larger than Earth? Yes. And so you are moving down in a ship. It's got a thin blue antigravitic light around the hull, which is a blue-gray metallic hull with a top that has kind of a semi-spherical, kind of a dark blue stone, not dark blue, not stone, glass-like dome to the top of it. And 3 semi-spheric pods in the bottom hull. Those are wave vector guides. And you're sitting at a control panel. You have a dozen other people around you operating crystal and control consoles set in a pattern of 6 around the center one. And you're just turning on a screen, and you look like a being about 8 feet tall. You're sitting in a chair and you stand up after you've touched a triangular faceted violet crystal. And the walls of the inside of the ship, the entire circumference, like a rectangle around the whole ship, rectangular shaped. Or, like a curved flat wall, 8 feet tall. The hull itself is charged, and you can see out the ship in 360 degrees, like it was a window. You have long, dark blue hair. You have slightly pointed ears, a yellow, like moonstone skin, deep blue eyes, bigger than an Earth human. And you're wearing a Galactic Alliance uniform. You're obviously the captain of this ship. Everybody on this ship, men and women from different races, are cross-trained. They can all pilot these ships. You all have degrees. By the time you're 10, you have at least the equivalent of 10 PhDs to a person on Earth. Except you know what you're doing. None of what you work with is theoretical. It's practical. You are simply piloting this ship to land down on that continent after a long excursion exploring other worlds that are part of the Galactic Alliance. Your name is Zephyron at that life, 278,000 years ago. The body you have is 4,800 years old. It lived to about 7,800 before you voluntarily disassembled it and went on. These other couples are looking out to see where we're approaching. When you look down at this continent, we're moving over the golden luminous beach. When you look up in the atmosphere, you can see the triple suns in the daytime at different distances in the horizon, up higher in the sky. You can see in daytime the 4 orbiting planets. It's not like Earth. This world is closer to the galactic core, not in it, but nearby, where there are more concentrations of suns and worlds than anywhere else. And you are going to land on a flat oval ledge of a side of a blue stone mountain in the center of that continent. It's one of the taller mountains, and it's got an oval cavern going inside the mountain. It's a kind of a spaceport, a scientific research center. And you can see these trees. They're like upside down Christmas trees with flowers on top, with a trunk going in the ground. They're luminous because everything that's H2O in this world has a charge of the hue, and it glows. The sap in the trees, beautiful oval lake, big, huge oval lake out there that's got a kind of a blue-violet water to it, and big trees planted around the outside of this landing area on this mountain. They look like very tall weeping willow trees with broad spoon-shaped blue leaves, and you can see the energy moving up and down the trunk. And your ship comes down, 3 tripod legs come out, it lands. The blue antigravitic light around the hall shuts off. An oval seam appears in the side that wasn't there before, opens, and this crystalline staircase comes down to the ground. And you come out with your fellow scientists and walk down and step on this blue disc-shaped foot-thick landing pad. In the distance, you can see other mountains receding in the distance, and a jungle, kind of a jungle of trees, well cultivated, surrounding what's called a big clear dome over a small research city. This dome is quite large, actually. It has 3 golden-sided pyramids with court caps in the back third surrounding a long, low, oval ivory-colored dome building, which is a research center, and a fountain in the center of this, near an oval blue-green lake. You are all walking through a triangular opening to the side of this dome, and then, as you walk inside it, there's a triangular archway about 15 feet high, and it's got a wavering blue shield around it, and you walk through it, and it teleports you, dematerializes your form, and transfers you to the center of this city by the fountain. The fountain is blue, scalloped edge like that of a seashell. It has a blue, kind of a bluish golden white light coming down into it, filling it from above the dome, drops into the floor, and it's a kind of a portal. It's a kind of a doorway. And as a scientist, you're working on these kinds of portals that bring a higher energy from other worlds into the physical universe as a part of your study, research. You and your fellow scientists, alternating male and female, are standing by this, came off that ship. You raise your hands up in the air, palms out, and energy is transmitted from this fountain right into your palms, at the top of your head. You look up smiling, and there's the Atma you are. It goes right into it. So this is a life you already had, and lost all that wisdom when you're shut down on Earth. You can go back to this experience and run it forwards or backwards, because it was a long life. No war, no negative nature, just paradise, really. And you find yourself coming out of, and the planet's called Shon-tial 3. And it's one of the Galactic Alliance world systems, one of many millions. You're coming out of this oval white sphere of this secondary implant with this couple. They've placed their right and left palms, both of them, up under this white thing. And then they're asking you to simply look at it. And then you watch it dissolve into the pure white golden light around us, and it's gone. Now the lifetime is accessible. That's not destroyed. That's stored in one of the teardrops of the Atma. But the influence of not being able to access it is now gone. Now they're moving you around to the back side of the Atma out in space. The same couple, Shon-tial and Tonal-tial. And they're moving your face up into this other secondary implant and right into it. You are walking on a blue, luminous beach. You are on another world 457,000 years ago. Quite a few thousand years after the last Great Corrective War, so there's no wars. And you are walking on a beach with a blue, silken-like, single-piece garment, almost like a dress, but you're a male. And you're about 11 feet tall here. Normal for these people. You're surrounded by several couples, same race, younger offspring, about half their height, and several type of very evolved animals. This beach is luminous. The ocean has a blue, crystal clear blue quality to it, and is calm, and it's glowing. In the background you can see jungle trees that look like palm trees, but they have a blue, kind of a blue-brown bark. And blue fruits hanging from them with luminous top fronds at the top. And there are a number of domed cities here. When I say city, I don't mean metropolis. There's not an overpopulation in these worlds. And these are research centers, scientific, spiritual, if you will, but much higher science. And so you're walking on this beach in bare feet, feeling the energy of the sands rush up your legs. And you allow this because here the hue is active. And it moves up through the top of your head. And you have long, silver-like hair. Violet eyes, ivory-colored skin. You're not wearing a Galactic Alliance uniform here, because you come from a race at this lifetime that runs a little more than half the galaxy called the Tonal-tial, and they're stationed on a planet on the other side of the Milky Way, opposite Earth, in the same parallel dimension. There's a couple standing behind you. They are the, I don't want to say rulers like tyrant kings, but they are the people who oversee running many hundreds of millions of world systems. And this is on a planet near what's called Tonal-tial 1, which is a governing planet for the Tonal-tial race. They did not originate in our galaxy. The bodies they're showing you are over 3.5 million years old, unaged. And they're meeting you here. You're one of their key scientists. That life you lived to be almost 17,000 years, which is nothing compared to these two. So you're well respected, and you're simply giving them a report telepathically of what you've been doing in different parts of this world. They've come to visit this world because those domes in the distance that have these 3 pyramids in them and a fountain are in triangular patterns throughout the jungle, throughout these low mountains. There are 2 couples and their offspring. They're your family. There are some animals standing almost as tall as you between you that are great friends. There's an atma hovering above these mammal forms. They look kind of like almost like a giraffe, but not that tall of a neck. 6 legs, kind of a violet fur, big blue-green eyes, blue pupils. They have vocal cords. And you're just talking with them. This is not Earth. These are very highly evolved mammal forms with higher nervous systems that atmas run. Their front legs or paws have individual fingers and thumb. They can lift them up, and they can build, and they can do things. And they're a spacefaring race. They're called Ronantronans, this race. You are a member of the Tonal-tial race. They came here from another galaxy, 5 galaxies away, a long time ago, and colonized worlds in the Milky Way a long time ago. So you were once them. The wisdom you had can't even be compared to an Earth human. Your IQ would have been like 10,000. And suddenly you're out of this white oval sphere of light, this secondary implant. In space, looking at the atma you are with this non-physical appearing perfect male form, this couple beside you. And they just put their fingers in the end of this thing and push, and it collapses in and disintegrates into kind of a violet powder, becomes the white golden light around us. That secondary implant is gone. One of your other lives lived long ago has great wisdom. This couple is now moving you over to the right side of the electromagnetic field, that surrounds the outside of the atma, not in it. This time, they're placing his right hand or left hand, they're putting it under this, bringing right up to this last secondary implant. They're putting their hands under your upturned palms and having you move in and bring this third implant out of your field of energy. And then you push your head right into it. You're on a ship, many hundreds of feet across, traveling above an emerald green luminous ocean. It is on another planet. It is also 4 times bigger than Earth. It is a trinary star system. Has a big blue young hot white giant star in the daytime. You can see it closest to the planet. A big yellow one slightly smaller further out, and a little red dwarf further out. These are visible in the daytime sky. There are 3 planets the size of Earth orbiting that you can also see at different points in the sky in the daytime. And you also look in daytime out in space and you can see beautiful blue and yellow and red and greenish type blue stars and very close to here. On the upper deck of this disc-shaped ship, it's actually an oval shape, there is a walkway. It's open to the air. And there are tables around it. And then there's a little dome covering the control section in the ship. So part of the ship has been, the solid surface has been removed so that you are out in the air, walking along this deck as it's floating over the ocean. It's heading towards a single island with a blue luminous beach around it. It's a circular island, and there's a central dome in the middle of it. And you're heading towards it with many other people. These are all Galactic Alliance people. You all have that same uniform on. You're up now, walking up towards the front of the ship to see where you're approaching, and you have a female by your side, a little shorter than you. And you're looking at a body form. You are the Atma visiting this life. You're looking at a body form that's about 6 feet tall here. It has a dark brown skin, but like a moonstone, like almost glistening. You have this kind of a breezy shirt on, the Galactic Alliance, but your arms are open to the air. The same for this female. She's wearing a kind of a beautiful, form-fitting, single-piece uniform she steps into. And her arms are available too, and you have your arms through each other. You're simply looking out at the approach of this ship to land on a disc pad on this blue, radiant sand. And then it flies over that and goes inland and lands near a foot, like a foot-thick blue disc landing pad near this one big dome. There is a fountain outside where the ship lands, and it is a device. And it has almost a white alabaster stone scalloped edge around it. It has a Christmas tree light, like a Christmas tree, blue and green, flowing up and down it. And down around that is a pale, luminous blue, kind of a golden white light. It's filling this bowl evenly, and an even sheet of glistening light is flowing around the outer circumference and dropping in the ground. There is a seat around it made of this white stone. 4 intricately scrolled stone legs support it. And you are walking over and sitting down, stepping over it, sitting down this seat in front of this fountain with a number of the other people, including the woman by your side. This is a place, this world, for a kind of meditation, contemplation. This particular fountain is linked to a place above the void. Very few Galactic Alliance personnel back in its history were actually traveling above the void, all as paradisical and advanced as they were. They are doing that now. But back then, you were a research person that was investigating, trying to get the awareness of how to move in and out of that fountain above the void. You did not accomplish that in this lifetime until towards the end of it. So as the beginning of this for you, the sound emanating from it is like the high note of a flute. And you're simply allowing an energy from this fountain to be projected into the form you have and into the white core of the Atma hovering above it. So is your companion and the other researchers you have around you. The planet's called Tranissimum. These are alien tongue languages. It's a beautiful name. It just means something like radiant wonder. Everything's charged with the hue on these world systems. They're near the galactic core, much higher in energy than Earth. This is 387,000 years ago. Different points along your Galactic Alliance journey, long before you got caught and put on Earth. More of what you remember normal life should be like. It is the wisdom and intelligence of this life that you want to have a door open to bring back to what you have on Earth. It's yours. You have a right to it. You can go back to this point and research it down the time track, backwards or forwards at your leisure. And when you find yourself coming out of this third implant, this time, Tyrellian, with his thumbs up from behind us, is telling you to telepathically send the hue, which is moving through him, through you, and me by his side, right into the center of this last foot-wide oval light. Your palms are holding it, and then the extraterrestrial master teachers under it. And they're asking you to send the hue. They're doing it, Tyrellian's doing it, I'm doing it, and you watch your hands collapse around it, and it disintegrates. Now, because this life, like all lives, is stored in the teardrop layers of the Atma, you now have conscious access to it. But the block in the way is gone. Now you're standing in a circle with this couple beside you looking at Tyrellian. You're in this circle around him. You can see the white golden light coming through the vortex high above Satnam. He's part of this too. So he's aware of you. Obviously they see potential. As you know where the energy's coming from. Out in space in the pure hue. When we go on a primary implant review, that takes place aboard the Emerald Star Cruiser in a white leather-like chair in a dodecahedron chamber. It's a mile-long cylindrical ship with a blue-gray metal, flattened top and bottom, big bridge control room on the front and back. It is stationed permanently inside the mile-and-a-half thick ice rings made of frozen water that orbit the planet Saturn, a gas giant. That's for another journey. The group journeys we go on will take you up into the void, through that vortex, Satnam's realm and higher. Because we want you to be able to bring back awareness of where your focus is for being alive. Where you're supposed to be co-creatively focused while your body's alive. Contributing to that source co-creatively. And enjoying the company of master teachers that will co-create with you. This is the way it should be. Then you find yourself hovering near the ceiling above your body on Earth, and this couple is still hovering beside you, smiling very kindly. They're almost giddy because this is thrilling for them. They really like doing this. You're looking down at your sleeping body, leaning over, kind of smiling a little bit, but it's in the trance state called sleep. Make no mistake about that. The energy of the golden white light coming from this journey, which comes from the source all the way down through the Atma plane and through the void and all the way down through bypassing the lower planes, right through your physical body, out through the walls of your home, is moving through you for your benefit. But it's also moving past you for the benefit of others. And it goes out into 3 pyramids stationed on Earth. 2 are the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans. They're much bigger than the one in Egypt. Quartz cap, there's a fountain, the statue of Satnam in each one. It's a device. There's one in a hollowed out interior of a mountain in the Himalayas, and they're connected. The energy of this trip is then passed through you to those pyramids, and it's beamed out to a larger pyramid stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter right now. Most classified people know it's there. They can't do anything with it. It's not made of physical matter, but it looks like it's physical. Weapons, nothing will work. And there's a fountain in it, and it beams this energy to other fountains between individual stars and then right to the galactic core of the galaxy and up the shaft. Goes all the way back to source and circulates, and it moves only in one direction now. It cannot be manipulated, controlled, patented, possessed, or done anything to it whatsoever. It is here to help, let's just say, retire evil as an experiment, evil and good, replace it with the Hue expansion ray, which brings with it a certain wisdom, so that beings, when they recover this time, will never be vulnerable to be trapped again. One-way ticket back into mastery. So we're back, and when you're ready, open your eyes. 3 very amazing lifetimes. Normal. Normal. That's normal. Earth people are not. Not even close. So now all you got to do is play with them. You don't have to think about it or worry whether they're real. You have access to great wisdom. In those lifetimes, you can't even measure what you knew scientifically. You were advanced in interdimensional portal travel, ships that travel between galaxies. You're doing all kinds of things, which was very normal for you way back then. Now, it's part of your past, so you should have access to it, shouldn't you? Yeah. We can't find these things out on our own, not with implants. You can't access them. People on Earth are going to need the greater God from outside Earth coming here, or no one's going to survive what they're doing on this planet. And it wouldn't be the first time life would have come to an end on this planet. Nuclear war has already been prevented here 12 times I know of during the Cold War, where they actually pushed the button to blow everything up. Launch computers were shut down from space. No calling card, no communication, no interference, just you can't do that. Otherwise, they want people to grow up. Earth is supposed to be a spacefaring planet. We cannot do it with the more advanced races from other worlds, bringing us up to a point where we can do that safely. Because to them, the most dangerous race of beings right now in the galaxy, the most unpredictable and corrupt and misdirected, subconsciously misdirected people, is on Earth. Those beings cannot be allowed to play in the universe the way they are, bringing their vomiting, their crap, and their religious stuff, and everything else, their bias, their bigotry on those people. No, they're way more in tune with divine spirit than anybody on Earth. And we need to learn from them directly how to embrace that universe, the bigger one outside of Earth, if we're going to play among the stars just in physical bodies alone. As the Atma, we don't need spaceships to travel between planes. As the Atma, we can't take a spaceship into the void. We can't even take a spaceship here into the astral plane. You got to go work with spaceships there. So it's the Atma that moves between these dimensions, not ships. Got any questions, Al, at this point? Oh, turn your microphone on because I shut it off for better recording quality. Yeah, just turn that guy right on there. Now we're back.
Yeah.
I never know what I'm going to see before I go in and look at your lives. I have no idea. None. I don't invade someone's consciousness. I have permission to help you recover, but I don't go look ahead of time. You need to be part of the experience. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
Now,
It was beautiful.
once you have these 3 lives, they're not covered up anymore. You still have a primary implant. You still have other subconscious stuff, negative stuff that bothers you subconsciously that come from many lives, even outside of this galaxy, and from your astral emotional influence as well. Causal, cause and effect, mental, thought, instantaneous manifestation, etheric. That's more of a preparation to leap across the void. Yet most of the people in the etheric plane aren't leaping. It's stuck, and it's being unstuck. The multidimensional universe was destroyed several times. The lower planes are below the void.
Right.
Great ages and beings brought up above it and then rebuilt and stuck back. And after billions of years, we end up in the same trap. Does that make any sense to you? Because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You can't just break it and then build it and put people back the way it is. Just get trapped again. So
Right.
something had to change in the upper realities that never existed. It needed to be tested by Satnam, which it was. And then they get excited and then they implement change. But this time without destroying the structures, fine. All the planets, all the galaxies, all the dimensions, all the doorways between the planes, it's all fine. Silent mentors run all of that, and they're not perverted, and they're not in that mess we're in. So it is the beings who run the lower planes that are being changed. The Purushas, so-called the lower planes, have 4 silent mentors around them now. What you call the cow,
Right.
it's being changed.
Okay.
It never happened before. This is a first. We're all in it together.
Right.
So, okay, now let
I'm
me.
thankful and grateful for your help.
Now I'm going to shut this recording off to keep it at least an hour, whatever it is. I don't even know now.